get the name on the back too, like I usually get it, so that's actually 20.
Have you been to classic football shirts?
Yeah, yeah. I have some throwback ones that are cheaper.
Yeah,
I have like, you know, like the candy kits with ladies. I have one of those.
that's the best site, America.
I still got my classic ones at the Campbell site. They're only like $2. They're solid. I get like the authentic one every year. I get one a year.
One thing to get down is it's not just asking what that goes for.
Very true.
Shop at the championship next year.
I've been doing,
Yeah.
yeah. I know, it's,
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
all right, you don't think about it. I know you don't. You can't.
Didn't themselves.
Because you wouldn't do it.
You lose 3 at home. You lose 3-0 at home.
How's everybody doing? Good. Hey, how are you? Great. Go ahead.
How different is this spring for you?
A lot, personally, professionally. Oh, you good? We got microphones. Wow, we're professional. I mean, you think back a year ago today, I'm living in a hotel, doing the bi-weekly parent, husband life, trying to find somewhere to live. So yeah, I much prefer this year than last year. You blink and it's been over a year, and phenomenally blessed to be here. Obviously, off season here is a lot different than in the NFL, but it's great to be back on the grass with a bunch of new faces and excited to go.
Coach, you mentioned at the Alamo Bowl that this year would look different because there's different personnel. So as you've gone through it over the last couple of months, what do you think about the personnel you have here as far as some of the tools you have, but also some of the differences you have?
Yeah, it's exciting. You never really know what you got till you get on the grass. You know, I think it's our job as coaches, we've talked about it a bunch, is to learn the learners. You know, you can get around these guys, kind of know how they learn, how they see the game. You know, really the month of January and February, you know, our strength staff does a great job. And just excited. You know, it's day one. We get 15 opportunities in the spring and make the most of them and put guys in tough spots because it's not always going to be easy. And just excited about, you know, where we're headed.
Ryan, go ahead. Speaking of differences in personnel, you guys have a lot of differences.
Hold on. Turn that mic on, please. Sorry, should I say?
Got it?
I got it. You good?
It's spring practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Sorry about it.
Yeah,
first day.
I'll restart. Speaking of differences in personnel, you guys look a lot different at linebacker.
Yeah.
What has it been like working with guys like Martavius and Reginald so far?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done much. You know, obviously just the way that the college cycle goes. You know, you get good reports from the weight room. Excited about those guys. You know, they had a chance to visit, you know, in that that first portal window. And, you know, it's great to talk and people can talk about it. I see a lot better than I hear. So I'm excited to see the practices and see what they can do, make the calls, communicate. You know, obviously that position, you're the quarterback of the defense. So somebody told me a long time ago, you know, you don't really learn football in the classroom, you learn it on the field. It's like basketball that way. So they get a lot of reps, you know, the way we practice today. We get 14 more of those, so excited to see where they go. And then other guys, you know, that have been here, maybe they just got here. It's truly a clean slate for everybody.
Matt, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Nice to see you
what's up,
again.
brother? You too.
I think I heard you mention in a well-off video when speaking to the team the other day that you went back and kind of did your year-end review process. Yeah. Kind of first of a two-parter. What did you take away from kind of going back and digesting last year and the season that you put together?
Yeah, I think you always got to look at yourself as a leader, as a play caller, those things. When times are tough, what did you do? You know, embarrassingly, I always start with the losses. And, hey, what can I do better? You know, you feel like you let the team down. So you want to look at it and situationally, you know, hey, dude, it's 2nd and 7. You keep calling 5-man pressures. Like, you're allowed to play a zone here, or vice versa. Hey, you got to bring the heat. And just have those hard conversations with yourself. That's really what the month of January and February was for me. You know, we're very blessed. The recruiting staff does a great job. The coaches travel, and they do all that stuff. And I get to sit here and try to come with the best version of us. And that starts with the best version of me as a play caller.
To build off of a little bit of what you were just talking about, you know, you don't really know what you got until, you know, you get onto the grass.
Yeah.
Is that process for you accelerated this year because you do know more of what you have compared to when you came in, and so maybe it's easier to build that scheme and build some of those concepts that you want to use because you do have a better idea of what you have?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the first question, you know, just in terms of the offseason. You have to have the hard questions. You have to ask yourself, what is the why here? You know, why are we teaching it this way? Why are we calling this? You know, what's strong about it? What's weak about it? And I think the organizations, the businesses that can have those hard conversations of, hey, is this the best way to do it? Is this the best way to teach? Right, wrong, or indifferent, these kids are different in 2025. You know, it's a much more 15-second look here, squirrel over there mindset. So, you know, how are we going to reach them? You know, that's our job. We're teachers at the end of the day. So changed up the way we do some things, obviously with a new group. You know, I think we'll have whatever, 7, 8 new starters. You know, who are the leaders going to be? And that's the exciting part about the spring. I mean, the X's and O's are one thing. You guys have heard me say it. At the end of the day, we're just calling stuff off of Denny's menu, right? They got to bring it to life, and leaders got to lead from the front. So that's what I'm most excited about, to see who's gonna take this team and say, okay, hey, you guys get on my back and let's go.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going? In the secondary, yeah, you guys are obviously losing a couple big names and leaders in Cameron and Travis. Just who are you kind of looking for to kind of step into those leadership roles, and what would you like to see out of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, leadership can look different in different ways. Obviously, Travis was, you know, we talked about it. Travis was our culture, right? When your hardest working player is also your best player, that clearly defines what culture is. So the guys we have now, it'll look different. You know, Cam's not walking through the door. You guys have heard me talk about it. In terms of leadership, Cam is one of one. So I think it's hard to say you're going to be a leader until you get on the grass. You know, you can only lead so much in the weight room when you're sprinting and conditioning and doing those things. So that's what spring is for. And we had that conversation with the guys of, you know, hey, I want you guys up here. You don't have to listen to me speak the whole spring. You know, I want you guys to have a voice and truly let this be your defense and let us get out of the way.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
It was reported this offseason that, you know, you became the highest paid assistant in Colorado history. Congratulations on that. I'm just curious how it feels to know that you were valued, that you were rewarded, you know, by a school program that, you know, you're only been at, you know, for a year or so.
Yeah, I mean, I know people say this, and it probably gets lost. This is a special place, and they gave me a chance, you know, so that's never lost on me. You know, I kind of joke around and say I was the dog on the side of the road that people drove by and said, that's a good-looking dog, but we're good. And they brought me in, and they changed my life. They changed my family's life, so it's my job to not let them down. So it goes back to the first question, you know, hey, it's year 2, but hey, dude, you can't blow this. You got to do a great job, so that's what I'm excited for. Jake, go ahead.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Jake Schwantz from DMVR. Just, you know, you mentioned you're looking for new leaders for this team, and I was just curious, you know, who are the returning guys that you're looking at to really step up and, you know, come into that leadership role this season for you?
You know, I have to say everyone, because this is on the internet, so it must be true. It's got to be out there. You know, there's some guys that have done it, that have maybe transferred in, you know, looking for a variety of different roles or et cetera. I mean, I think that's what the portal's about, right, is kind of betting on yourself, if you will. Guys that are coming back, you know, we got Arden Walker. Arden and I have had this conversation, so I can have it publicly. This place means a lot to him. Obviously, he's a generational player here. So if he could step up and truly take that leadership role, that would be really cool. And, you know, some transfers and all that stuff. But it's, you know, may the best man win. You know, it can, again, it looks, it smells, it's a variety of different ways. Leadership's a funny thing that way. So couldn't tell you who it's going to be, but I'm excited to find out.
Hey, Coach, another one for you. You mentioned, obviously, Cam a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I talked to Cam recently, and he mentioned that Tawfiq Byard, the USF transfer, he sees a lot of his game, Tawfiq's game in himself. I'm curious, just from what you've seen from Tawfiq on film and the little bit of time you spent around him, do you see maybe some similarities in terms of play style,
Yeah.
maybe some leadership capabilities?
You know, genetics are always a good thing. So with Tawfiq's brother being who he is, if we can get some of that, that would be great. He played a similar role at USF. You know, they were a little bit different defensively. They played some more shell, and they did some things like that that maybe we can get to. We'll see how the spring goes. But it's hard for me to put that crown of Cam on somebody else. You know, again, I told you I see better than I hear. So, yes, that was part of the process. But Cam's a special dude to me, so I got to see that.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to follow up with Scott's first question. in the offseason start before that contract extension, there was a lot of talk about maybe, NFL teams wanting you or another college. Why stick with Boulder?
Why not? Where do you live?
Louisville.
Okay, so you drove here today, the mountains, all that stuff. This is a special place, and I know it's that time of year that it's what you're supposed to say, and this will get tweeted out and all that stuff. But I believe it, and I'm very loyal. They gave me a chance, and I want to see that through. I'm very appreciative, very grateful of obviously Rick George and Prime, and Alec has been a rock star in this process. So it was going to take something really special to move my family again. We talked about it. So yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. It's a phenomenal blessing, and just excited for the future. John, go ahead.
Coach, the staff and the program earned a lot of street cred for being receptive to having a two-way player.
Yeah.
And if it works, why change it? Could you see yourself doing that again if you have a dynamic player sharing with the offense, something like that?
Yeah, so what he's alluding to is actually Travis got another year, so Travis is coming back. We're excited. Yeah, I don't like talking about money, but I gave him a little bit. All right, we could have left that out. I have 4 kids; they like nice things. So no, it's Travis is one of one. Obviously what he did, he's a unicorn. I probably should have copyrighted that. I think that's getting a little bit of play now. So. It would be great. The way that we do it here is obviously you got to master one side of the ball before you can do the other. Isaiah Harge is the guy that played both ways for us last year. Obviously, rock in a probably not as sexy way. When you play offensive and defensive line, you have no idea who's in there. So yes, if you can do that, then that's great. But let's work on one side and then we'll go forward.
Anything else for Coach? Go ahead, Matt. Will you just talk about your secondary a little bit, and how big it was to get Preston Hodge back for you this year?
Yeah, shout out Diego Pavia. Forever grateful to you, dude. Never met you, but if I make it to Nashville, first drink's on me. To get Preston back is key. He's a really good player. I think the way that we play, Preston kind of stirs the drink. DJ, we're excited about DJ. I think when you watch DJ walk in the room, you're like, oh my God, that's a guy. So I'm excited to see him take the next step. Obviously, Colton Hood's a guy that, every chance he got, he made the most of it. Thinking back to K-State, 4th and 6, interception versus Arizona. Played well when his number was called, and he's hungry. So feel really good about the corner room. Behind that, R.J. Johnson's a guy that transferred in last year, didn't get a lot of play. I love the look in R.J.'s eyes. I think he's poised to have a really good spring, so excited for him. In the safety spot, I've already talked about Taufik. Carter Stoutmeyer is a guy that plays a variety of roles for us. He kind of embodies what we want to be, having a tribe mentality. It's not about himself, it's about the team and what's best. To go from playing post safety to nickel to corner is rare. And he's obviously a genetic freak, so excited for him. Ben broke down the team twice today, so that might have been a record. Ben's done a great job in the weight room, and he brings a lot of great energy and juice, and we'll see where it falls out after that. So, I've said this before, Kevin Mathis is as good a teacher as I've ever been around. So as long as I don't screw it up, Kevin's going to do a great job with those guys, and they'll have a great year.
Last one, Tyler, go ahead. Hey, Coach, Tyler King with Denver Gazette. You've mentioned many times about how you learned so much just from seeing the guys on the field. Just curious what the balance is this spring as opposed to last spring in terms of installing some of the little stuff that you want to do, just your core stuff, while also just trying to see what you got with a new group of guys and seeing what guys that returned, what kind of steps they've taken throughout the offseason.
Yeah, I think, year 2 in college football, you have a much better feel for everything. I think you walk into every situation saying, yeah, I understand how wide the hashes are. And you get out there, you're like, oh my God, these things are wide. The unbalanced formations, all that kind of stuff. So, I have a general feel for kind of who we want to be, but it's always about players, not plays, right? So I think when you think back to last year at this time, we're trying to install concepts and schemes, and I'm playing Ted Lasso a little bit, trying to make everybody believe in what we're going to be. This year we can truly just get right to it, which is exciting. Will we morph some? Yeah, we will, because again, we won't have those guys. So it's our job to get the guys, the 4 best players we can do to put them in a position to be successful. And to me, if you look at, the Patriots for all those years, and as great as they were on offense and Brady and that stuff, I mean, they would be different defensively every week. So if we can take that mindset this spring to be situational masters, not beat ourselves, I think when you go back and look at the games we lost last year, Paul Gunther told me a long time ago, right, more games are lost than are won. And I think if you look across the spectrum, like, it was self-inflicted wounds. So let's be great on third down. Let's be great in the red zone. Will that look different? Yeah, it probably will. But let's do the best version of ourselves and kind of see where the chips fall.
Thanks, Coach.
Good? Thanks, guys.
Actually dropped the class. I'm thinking, the full-time paid jobs might be a little more beneficial than.
All right, good morning. Back at it. I really don't have anything to lead with, other than it's fun to get back on the road, or back on the field. That's the thing I love about this game the most is the time we spend practicing, obviously, as well as the games. And so when we have the opportunity to get the guys back out there, football's a game you got to play. And in order to play it, you got to put a ball down, and you got to get 11 guys going the right direction. And so that's why it's these practice opportunities are so important. So time's yours.
Hey, Coach. We'll start off with sort of the obvious one. You don't have Shurmur here anymore. But can you talk about the quarterback room and what you feel like you have there with not only the 3 scholarship guys, but also those walk-ons as well?
Yeah, I mean, certainly that's going to be an obvious observation throughout the season. Losing somebody like Shurmur is, we got to replace him. And I think the important thing for all teams is you sort of rebuild the roster, and you have to start over. We took with us into the offseason a winning season, and then we want to build on that with the players that are here because you want to try to build a winner. But we got to rebuild it, and so we went out and got 2 players that we feel like have a bright future. Obviously, Kaidon Salter, who's got 1 year left. He's out there doing a heck of a job, and then Juju's phenomenal. He's a young talent. He's very natural in what he does. And he's fun. And so both of those guys need to develop to a certain degree within our offense, which now we have, we got a year time on task with. And so they need to develop just like all the other players. And we really like what we've seen so far. We built a little bit of a foundation through the offseason. And then out there today, there were some really good plays. And then there's certainly some things that we got to clean up as we go. So, but what's nice with these both guys, along with Staub and Ponder, obviously, and Colton Allen, is on the field sometimes they'll have an aha moment when something doesn't go right, and they say, oh, okay, now I see why, or wow, that really did work out right. Now I see what you were looking at, Pat, and so on. So it's good. It's great. It's healthy. And I'm just, if you can tell in my voice, I'm just happy to be out on the grass. As you get along in this profession, you like less and less the office work, and you relish more and more the field work. And I think that's at the point of my career at this point.
Coach, with Zach Atkins coming in from the transfer portal, I'm just curious, from your perspective, what it's going to mean to have a true, dual threat tight end to help in both the run and the pass game, and how that'll change the offense.
Yeah, I think tight ends are so important. I lived in a league forever where tight ends in the NFL are very, very important pieces to your offense. And so you're in 11 and 12 personnel a lot. We got a lot out of our guys that we had playing in there. Savell last year, but we were in 10 personnel a lot because we didn't really kind of have the room that we needed. So going out to get Zach, hopefully to give us the flexibility to be in more 11, 12 personnel. I think good coaches kind of use the personnel that is available to them, and we had a lot of wideouts, and hopefully still do. So we're going to, try to utilize them and their speed. But the tight end is a key position, not only, blocking the edge of the line of scrimmage, but also in the passing game, whether they're protecting or getting open on routes. So, I think we got a little bit more diverse roster this year, which will allow us to do more things.
Hey, Coach, Tyler King with the Denver Gazette. Just going back to the quarterbacks, I mean, when you go into an offseason where a job like that is up for grabs, kind of what's the message to these guys in the spring? Is it you can't win it right now, just kind of focus on learning these things, or kind of how do you approach with a couple guys competing for one spot there?
Yeah, it's, as my youngest daughter would say, it's not that deep. I mean, you bring in new players, and they come in and they compete their butts off, and our responsibility as coaches is to make sure we play the best player. And so we'll, through the training sessions, because there is no preseason, we have to determine who the best guy is. And, God willing, we have a number of guys that could be the best guy, and they just go out there and compete. So they got to do the most with the reps they're getting in practice, learn from the mistakes of others. And, I think, I challenge our guys that we want to have one of the healthiest quarterback rooms in the country, because when you have a healthy quarterback rooms, then all the guys progress and all the guys develop, and that's what you're looking for.
Hey, Coach. Want to ask about the running backs room and Marshall Falk coming in,
Sure.
And a room that returns. I mean, everybody from last year. Just what are you looking for out of that group?
Yeah, I think it's a really good group. I think that they were underutilized to some degree last year, and some of it was by design. I mean, I kind of like to throw the ball, and we happen to have a really good quarterback and really good receivers, so some of that's by design. There were also times when, in the college game, they call them RPOs, and we all understand what's going on, where there's a structured run with, let's call it structured shenanigans on the edges, where you got blockers and route runners. And it could be right to do both things. So it could be right to hand the ball off, and it could be right to pull it. And so, those are the types where last year there probably were a handful of runs we could have let eat that would have helped our run game. But, I'm not going to dispute Shedeur pulling it and getting it to Jimmy, or pulling it and getting it to Tay on the perimeter either. So, but as we go along, the running game, it takes a village. It takes the whole village. It takes the guys up front. It takes the runners, and then it takes, obviously, the coaching. And we're thrilled that Marshall is here all his years as a player, and he was one of the smartest, most intelligent players. So as he gets more and more comfortable with our system, he's going to be able to give those runners insight, not only on, what they're looking for in coverage. We run choice routes with the running back. With the contour of this defense, this is what you can expect, how to read runs. And so, I and we are thrilled that Marshall's here, and he'll be, he'll be a big part of what we do.
Hey, Coach. Hope you had at least good couple down weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Just your reflections on maybe the first 2 years. Obviously, last year was your first as a coordinator, and you kind of moved and transitioned into that role later in your first year. But seeing how the first 2 years went, and then maybe what your approach is this season.
Yeah, no, I'm on my life's journey, right? And I'm just thrilled that, I have a team to coach, right, an offense to coach. When I came here, I pretty much the first year didn't know a ton about the structure of college football, haven't been in the pro game. And it's different. We've talked about it all last year. So I got my feet wet there. And then last year to kind of put it together and feature guys that could make a difference for us. And now we lose some of those guys. But I think the production is hidden within our roster. I think all we need is what we got. I think, and we got a chance to be a really, really fine team. And so, that's fun to kind of rebuild it in this year's image and likeness, right? Because you do climb the mountain a little different each year. And I feel very fortunate to be doing this job with a great deal of experience. A lot of seasons where you won, then some seasons that didn't go so well, right? But you learn from those things. And so to be able to sit here, and I feel, I really do. I don't know if it's the mountain air. I feel 20 years younger. And, like I'm watching things, and I remember jobs I had, and I wish I knew then what I know now in those jobs, right? And so I'm trying to put that to good use, pouring into these players, and it's been a lot of fun.
I have one tiny little one. You haven't really been on the other side of, I guess, being close to a draft prospect like Shedeur. You've been on the side of picking these kids apart and figuring out what's in their history and what makes them tick. How do you feel about the reaction, it seems, I guess, broad strokes, the NFL community has had to Shedeur and just kind of how he's shaking everything up a little bit?
Well, I've talked to all 32 teams, and some of them multiple times. I mean, some of the teams, ought to get an Airbnb out here. I mean, they've been out here a bunch of times doing the research on Shedeur for the right reasons. And I've told them all this, and I really believe it, having worked with him at this level and knowing how he's going to project to the next level. If you need a quarterback, draft Shedeur. If you don't need a quarterback, take Travis. I mean, I just, as my daughter would say, it's not that deep, and I think I'm not trying to be, funny. I just, believe in it. Quarterbacks have to have confidence. You're thrust into a big stage, and, it's 3rd and 6 and the wind is blowing and you got to have it. If you don't have confidence, it ain't happening, right? And you've been tagged a few times. Some of your guys have maybe dropped a couple balls, and you got to be able to stand in there and take it. So confidence is a huge thing. Being natural at the position is a huge thing, and I just think he has some of the traits that will allow him to be very, very successful. So I'm not into the comparison game at this point. We're not working together. We still talk frequently. He'll call me at night after his visits, and we'll talk about how they went or whatever. But now I'm in the phase where I'm rooting for him. And I think, whatever team chooses to pick him is going to make a really good choice.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you.
Good. All right. There he is.
Hey, Julian, Tyler King with the Denver Gazette. Just starting off, I mean, what was it like being out there today for your first real official college football practice?
It was definitely great. Finally time came, whatever. I'm bored waiting, trying to get installs and stuff like that. But, it was definitely the best part today, getting to actually play football. So, yeah.
Hey, Julian, just wanted to go back to your recruitment. You came out here a bunch of times. Just why'd you pick Colorado?
Honestly, I think looking at it, it was the building process of the organization, like the program just trying to build its way up from prime, getting here to them building their record and doing all the stuff they've done. And it was just like it was hard to pass up on the opportunity to come under prime and stuff like that.
Hey, Julian. Brian Halipol, the Daily Camera. Nice to meet you.
How's it going?
You decided to reclassify and graduate a year early, and actually a year and a half early. What went into that decision? Obviously there's a lot of maturity, that you need to have to come to this level early, but what went into your decision to come here so early?
Honestly, I had planned on reclassing up back when I was committed to USC. That was always the goal, was to skip that last year of high school. I feel like high school football probably didn't have much more for me, even if it meant coming in here and competing for a job young and doing all that stuff. I just felt like it'd be best for me to get in here as early as possible.
What's up, Julian? Scott Proctor at
What's happening?
DMVR. Your high school experience, starting right away as a true freshman and obviously, balling the next 3 years, how much do you think, or what part of that experience do you think kind of helps you get ready for this experience, coming into college? Hopefully, I'm sure you wanted to play and see the field early and succeed.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like Georgia football is kind of one of the higher ranks of high school football in the country, and I feel like getting that competition at such a young age kind of just helped me develop, and having the lead come in as a freshman just got me used to what I'm trying to do right now. Like my freshman year state championship, we played against Caleb Downs and all those guys. I got killed, but stuff like that just helped me grow up and get here.
Hey, Julian, nice to meet you.
What's happening?
First spring at the college level, just kind of a general question, just what goals do you have for yourself?
Honestly, just to grow and get stronger, learn the offense. Of course, everybody thinks it's a quarterback battle and stuff like that. But I mean, we got such great quarterbacks in the room and just great personalities. Like I just love being around the guys every day and just happy to be here.
Hey, Julian, Matt Smith. It seems like Shurmur has really tried to take you under his wing to a degree. How grateful are you for his guidance as well? Because a lot of guys in your position really don't get that from somebody who just had that position.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely a blessing for me to have a guy like him that just came over top of me. I mean, me and Shurmur talked about it. Like, we kind of came in different paths. Like, I didn't start off at JSU and all that stuff. But just looking at it from another black quarterback is always good to hear from, even the older guys, just like that have retired and stuff like that. Just understanding their path, it's humbling.
Hey, Julian, nice to meet you. How has it been working with some of the returning guys like Jordan and Draylon and Omarion? And how has it been, or how have they helped you kind of catch you up to speed here?
I mean, shoot, they definitely are verbal leaders. You know, big JC kind of holds down the fort. I mean, if you're doing something wrong, he's going to tell you, stuff like that. You know, O's been hurt. Dre is definitely one of the big targets of this year. I mean, I think everybody kind of understands that he's probably one of our top receivers. So, I mean, getting to be around them every day is definitely good.
You have moved boldly, reclassifying true freshmen, following a legend. Are you anxious to prove anything?
Not particularly. I mean, I guess I got more to prove to myself than anybody else. Like, I mean, I've been getting called overrated since I was 7, so it's kind of like, it kind of is what it is on that part of football, but I just want to go in and ball out. Like, I mean, I think that's everybody's goal, is to come in here and win.
Last one, Brian, go ahead.
I got 2 for you real quick. But first off, you went to the Alamo Bowl practices.
I did.
What was that experience like for you? Did you see some benefit that's maybe helping you as you're starting spring?
Yeah, no, it was definitely cool getting to watch the guys get ready for games, just see what the pre-practice type stuff was. I mean, my finger was messed up, so I kind of didn't get to throw or anything like that, which kind of sucked. But nah, definitely getting to see the last looks of Shurmur and Travis and them in college was a sight to see. Is the only way I could put that. Yeah.
And then I want to ask you about working with Pat Shurmur, who's been a longtime NFL coach, and your excitement about working with him.
Yeah, no, Coach Shurmur's a great guy. I mean, of course, going into it, I knew it was going to be him and me in the room. And I mean, I know it's Coach Prime's organization, but I mean, I spend all my time with Coach Shurmur, so we have no choice but to build our relationship. You know, he has that former NFL mindset. He gets wild sometimes, but I mean, it's kind of coming in young. I feel like that's what I needed. Just kind of just that person to put you in your place and just help you through the path.
All right, thanks, Juju.
For sure. Appreciate y'all.
Kaidon Salter, questions? Go ahead, Tyler.
Hey, Kaidon, Tyler King with the Denver Gazette. Just obviously, you guys getting on the field today for the first practice. What was it like, and how are you approaching this spring as opposed to the others that you've done in your college career?
Oh, yeah, well, you know, this is my first spring here and last spring overall, so I just come in, I just want to be a leader. I just wanted to come in and execute the plays that I know and understand, be a better teammate to my teammates, you know, just helping out some of the younger guys that don't know what they're doing at the time, putting them in the right position and do what they're supposed to do. But overall, like I said, just coming out, executing, completing passes, and doing everything that Coach wants us to do.
Hey, Kaidon, Jake Schwanitz from DMVR. Just curious why you picked Colorado. You know, what was it about the roster, the coaching staff that stood out to you?
Yeah, you know, they previously had Shurmur Sanders, and he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks come off the board next year. Then, of course, they got nobody. They really had nobody after him. They brought in Juju, and Coach wanted to see me come in and compete with Juju, and it's all working out right now. Just coming in, helping Juju out, and also helping each other out. I feel like it'll be the best. It was the best fit for me, and having the staff that they have here. Everybody's been to where I'm trying to get to. Pat Shurmur, he's one of the best offense coordinators, quarterback coaches in the country. So the amount of passing yards that Shurmur put up last year and his completion rate and all of his achievements are something that I loved and most definitely led me to committing here.
Hey, Kaidon, Brian Howell, Bowl of Daily Camera. You had a lot of ups and some downs during your time at Liberty, but a lot of experience. So how much do you think that really has helped you and shaped you to where you're ready for this, because you've been through so many different things?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't seen a lot and been through a lot with coaching changes and just my overall journey as a college athlete. You know, I feel like just me getting closer to God has brought me to where I am now, and just being able to believe and do everything the right way and try to be the best person for myself and for my team.
What's up, Kaidon? Excuse me, Scott Proctor at DMVR. You're obviously really electric as a ball carrier using your legs. How much of that do you want to be on display this year, and how much do you think that can kind of help this offenses in the past kind of struggle to move the ball on the ground?
I'm sure that it'll still be displayed, but mostly here I came to throw the ball, and of course I'm going to use my legs when I have to, and the time break down, and of course with Coach knowing that I can run, there's going to be a few run plays in there for me that I have to take down and run, but everybody know I have no problem with running. It's something that a lot of teams won't be able to stop whenever they do throw me out there to do those types of things, but I came here to throw the ball. We got a lot of electric receivers here. We also have some great backs here, so you will see us get way better progressions with the run game and more yards in the running game and rushing game this season.
Hey, Kaidon. We're coming here alongside your brother, Kyle at linebacker. Just what can we expect out of him?
Oh yeah, I mean he's hungry. He's hungry to play. He's had his ups and downs. Also, he's been pretty much hurt all of his college career. So just Colorado giving us the opportunity. We both just want to come here and work and be the best that we can be for our team and our family.
One of your former teammates, Liberty, Preston Hodge, was here this last year. Did you talk to him at all about during the process to find out what's Colorado like? Am I going to like it there? Like, how close are you with Preston?
Oh yeah, Preston, my boy. You know, we grew up kind of in the same area, played in the District of Doom in Texas high school football. So then we also ended up at Liberty with each other. We became pretty close, and that's my boy. When he left Liberty, he was one of the best DBs we had there. So that pretty much hurt us right there. But him coming here, of course, once I found out that Colorado was interested, I hit up the few people that I did know, and he had nothing but great things to say about Colorado and Coach Prime and the way their staff works, and that most definitely led me to being even more aggressive with my decision. Thank you.
How's it going? Good. Hey, Ryan, how's it going? Tyler King with the Denver Gazette. I remember talking to you before the start of last season and just how excited you were to continue to learn last season. And now that you have that additional season under your belt going into this year competing for a starting job, just kind of where you're at mentally and how you're approaching this spring as opposed to the previous two here.
Yeah, I mean, I think my approach is the same. I'm trying to go out there and make every play the best play. But really just develop and take this time to grow as a player, grow as a teammate, and kind of whatever happens, happens. I'm in the middle of my road, year 3, and obviously I have goals and dreams in mind, but I think, just it's a long journey, and I'm kind of pushing every day.
How do you view this competition? They bring in Kaidon. You got Juju coming in as the 5-star, but you've got the experience here. You've been, now in this offense for, 2 years. I mean, kind of 1 year with Shurmur, but how do you view this whole, competition that's going on this spring?
Yeah, I mean, it's really up to me just to kind of use that advantage I have of knowing the offense and having kind of that edge, and just every day I'm trying to just be the best player I can be and be the best quarterback and the best teammate I can be.
We didn't get to see you a whole lot this last year. I was because Shurmur, thankfully, was healthy, right? But how are you better than maybe you were in August?
A lot better. I think just with time, the game feels a little slower. The reads are a little bit slower, and I think just experience. You just have. I've got years under my belt now, and it feels good. I feel comfortable out there.
With the third iteration now of this coaching staff, because there's more turnover with this coaching staff, how do you feel they've narrowed it down, kind of selected it? How do you feel they're meshing together?
I think it's been great. I've obviously seen a lot of players come in and out of this locker room throughout the years, and I think Coach Prime and the coaches have put together a good group of kids. I think it's still early. I think we're still in that meshing process a little bit, but I mean the talent's real, and I know that Coach Prime and our coaches are going to put together a good locker room, and I think they have.
Anything else for Ryan? Go ahead,
Should I ask how you've enjoyed working with Pat Shurmur, who obviously, you know, a long time in the NFL, and have you learned a lot from him, and has that been kind of a fun experience for you?
Yeah, I've learned a ton from Coach Pat. Obviously, I mean, he's as smart as they come. He has all the experience, 20+ years in the NFL. It's been great. I think it's been a journey for me. I'm going into year 3 with him, and it's been great. He's been a great coach. He's hard on us as quarterbacks, and he's smart. And so I just try to every meeting, and try to take one little thing from him because he's got all the knowledge and all everything that a quarterback needs. So.
There's a lot of, I would say, false narratives out there, from a bunch of different sources about who Shurmur is, what type of person he is as he goes through the draft process of being heavily scrutinized. As somebody who shared that quarterback room with him for the last couple of years, what kind of person, what kind of teammate, what kind of leader would you say he is?
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time with Shurmur, obviously. I think I have nothing but the best words to say. I mean, I followed in his footsteps. I got to watch him for 2 years, and he's a leader by example. I think he goes through his life correctly, and I think he's a great teammate, and he's a good leader too. I saw him bring that locker room together and lead that team last year to a lot of success that we had, and so I think he's going to have great success, and yeah, have all the positive words in the world to say about him.
How does it make you feel then when you see some of that stuff?
I think it's cool. It's cool to see that Travis and Shurmur were once my teammates, and now they're going to go do great things in the NFL. No, it's very cool, and I'm excited to see their careers shape out.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yep, thank you guys.